Hello, my dear. Let's get in here and see what we got going on. It's just the devil energy is here and it's doing its work. And you know, I want to see what that means for us and what the guidance is. So, hi, hello, and welcome to the Consularship brought to you by Vertex of Abundance. My name is Serene Priestess Abossi. I'll be your oracle today. I was sent to deliberate the findings for a open reading. Open reading is a little bit different than channeled reading because there's either not a spread, but simulation, or there's a specified content or something of those nature. It's still channeled, it just has a little bit more of a structured theme. Okay, so I want to see what this devil is. Diavolo is the great adversary. It is basically separation. It's ignorance, illusion, fear, falsities. And oftentimes there's a part of ourselves which the light of the divine can't reach because there's a lack of love. So there's nowhere for grace, there's nowhere for glory, there's nowhere for favor, there's nowhere for anointing to seat, to vest, to incubate. And so the sacred work can't be done. And that's when profanity begins to take hold and eventually take root. So sometimes we're our own worst enemy, meaning we're in the way, we're blocking. Sometimes there's an external energy, entity, ideology that is taking hold, taking root. It could be adversarial, oppositional, which is just something that's not in alignment, that has yet to be reconciled, or it could be malignant and malicious and malevolent. This is something that is intentionally causing harm and it wants to compound said harm. So let's get in here, fit in here, see what we got going on. If you're new, welcome. If you are returning, welcome back. It's a delight and an honor and a privilege to serve you. Thank you for allowing me the pleasure to do so. We're going to take just a moment. As I was saying, sometimes when the energy of the devil, which is also called lived, spelled backwards, or Satan, which is the great adversary, it is sometimes just, oppositional adversarial, which is something that is yet to be reconciled within us. Sometimes it's malignant, malevolent, or malicious, which is something that is intentionally trying to do harm, and it could be taking root, it could be taking a hold. Okay, and these are parts of us that are ignorant, that are lost in illusion, that are bound in fear. Basically, separation, which means there's a part of us where love has not yet reached. So, grace or favor or glory or anointing can't incubate, it can't vest. Okay, it can't take root. So, it's always best to be guided by faith, not by sight, because when you open your eyes, you look. When you close your eyes, you see. That is also akin to in the land of the blind, the one-eyed man is king. So it's talking about our third eye. The third eye is when we are in alignment enough where that Christ is really when the pituitary gland, or the pineal gland really, um, becomes activated, more silica reaches that place. And so it begins to reverberate. It begins to take on like a aura or a glow. And that's really what Christ consciousness is. But Christ is just the love that you get in your heart. And if it could reach all the way from the root to the top of the chakras, then it becomes consciousness. But Christ itself, conscious or not, is really just that love. That's what I'm saying. Sometimes there's a part of us that love can't get to. It can't take root, it can't take a hold. And it's typically because of ignorance, illusion, falsities, fear. And when we are not in alignment with God, it's not because of a lack of glory or favor or anointing or grace. It's really more, we don't believe we're worthy of love. We are what's called spiraling into separation, which is the opposite of spiraling into union. Union is just unconditional love, universal oneness, consciousness, basically. Okay, so let's get in here, fit in here, and see what we got going on. It's a delight and an honor and a privilege to serve you. As I said, this will be an open reading because I just told you what we'll be talking about. Channel reading is completely, we don't know yet. We know a little bit here that what we're going to be talking about is the promise in our life. That's the Ten of Cups. It's the celestial endowment. It's what's intended for us. And when you see the Knight of Cups and the Ten of Cups, that's the homecoming, returning to divine grace or anointing. Now, this is not just the promise in our life, what's intended, but this is what's destined. Ten of Pentacles is destined. Ten of Cups is intended. Okay, so this is the celestial endowment. This is the spiritual inheritance. So there is something here, but we need to be laying the groundwork and having those groundwork yield in some kind of way, shape, form, or another. Meaning we need to build ourselves up from the inside out. We need to find some certitude and security, which it seems to be emotional fortitude, strength, courage, and wisdom. So hi again, hello, welcome to the Consularship brought to you by Vertex of Abundance. My name is Serene Priestess Abossi. I'll be your oracle today. If you're new, welcome. If you're returning, welcome back. It's always a delight and an honor and a privilege to serve you. Thank you for allowing me the pleasure to do so. The basis for this reading, as we meet here today for the Oracle Consularship, will be the Strength card, the Six of Swords, the Nine of Cups, and the Judgment card. As all other energies and entities come forward, remember the baseline of this reading will be the Strength card, the Six of Swords, the Nine of Cups, and the Judgment. So these two cards together mean that we're already in the queue to be saved. Andiamo. Okay, I need just a moment. The kitty got into some trouble. She got stuck in the laundry basket. So, you know, salvation and redemption, we've made it in some way. We're highly blessed, favored, chosen, anointed with the Nine of Cups. But it seems like in the background, everybody who's anybody is getting that emotional fortitude, that strength, courage, and wisdom. This could be something as simple as not looking outside of ourselves for the answer. And it doesn't mean that inside of us is the answer, but inside of us is a little tiny spark of light from the divine. And sometimes we just go inside and take refuge until we can go before the altar and commune with the spirit, commune with grace. So these are all cards that have been chosen. This is somebody who's reincarnated several times after being chosen. Typically, versus this is in contrast to the star card. The strength card, we talk about immortality. The star card, we talk about eternity. This is actually being highly blessed, favored, chosen, and anointed. This is somebody who's elevated. And then we have judgment cards. So this is someone who can go before the throne of the divine and still receive favor. Because normally when you go before the throne, there's a little bit of a chastisement, which also just means we're receiving adjusting feedback, which also just means we're receiving a couple things to choose to change. Meaning adjusting feedback is opposed to or compared to affirming feedback. Affirming feedback is just good feedback. Adjusting feedback is usually what we would consider negative or bad, things to change, things to improve. And then we have the Six of Swords here. So the Six of Swords is receiving grace. Grace in this case means the ability to pass, to come and go, to return again, or sometimes just to leave. If you show up in purgatory, you'd want to be able to leave. Not that you need to leave, but you would want the ability to leave, which means you're not stuck there. So that's really because the Six of Swords relatively could mean the river Styx. So that's what we're going through here. And it would seem like in the next week or so, we're going to start to see this cycle manifest here, a favor or being chosen. It seems like also we've condemned ourselves in some kind of way. And what that means in this context is that we are self-regulating, we are self-policing. If we do something wrong, we'll chastise ourselves. If we err on the side of grievance, we will admonish ourselves. We will discipline ourselves even sometimes. We may restrict certain energies. We may limit certain eh, entities. We may do something to make sure that we are whole. And remember, when you reach wholeness, then you become holy. And when you're fully holy, you can merge back into the divine. So to heal means to become whole, and to become whole means to become holy, which means then we're a vessel for the divine. Because cleanliness is next to godliness, and cleanliness is not always about purification of the body, it's also of the soul. And that's just the thing, austerity is the catalyst for success. Conflict breeds change. Now, suffering purifies, but struggle cleanses. So if we're suffering, it means that we've already kind of erred on the side of grievance, because it's easier to lean into discomfort. It's easier to sit with something unpleasant for a moment and to run through the mechanisms, the tenets or the scriptures or whatever spiritual system we use to access the divine. Sometimes, though, we're hard headed. Sometimes, though, we're knucking and bucking. Sometimes we're doing the wrong thing. And wrong is relative. Let's not use that word too often. But right is righteousness. Wrong means your head's too big. You know too much. Sometimes you know just enough to be dangerous, and sometimes you know so much that you can't learn anything. Don't know so much that you can't learn anything. That's the one thing I would advise. So this is just what I'm getting, what's coming through. We have the King of Cups, Five of Swords, King of Wands, Three of Cups. So this really is that we're all kind of coming online. All God's children here are really waking up, activating. Let's get comfy. This is coffee. So it seems like we're all kind of activating and we're taking action towards our divinity, our dharma. And it does seem like over the next 3 weeks, there will be some type of mm, recognition or awakening or announcement or affirmation or confirmation of our chosen status. Now, there are a couple few of us that will be revoked in some kind of way. So I would advise, okay, let's put this under next steps. If you are not already on the path of cleansing, purification, on the path of self-condemnation, this meaning where you're reprobate, you're feeling remorseful and sorrowful for any grievances that have been aired, that you're actively arresting any type of ongoing or continual trespass, and that you are realigning your behavior, realigning your gaze upon the divine, making sure that every single day is a little bit less sinful than the previous day. And, I want to be clear about the word sin. Yes, that it can talk about our specific actions, our specific behavior, but also understand that another word for sin is just being born into the flesh. I want to just be technical for a moment for the students here. Being born under sin means being born under what's called sine waves. It's SINE, sine waves. For the mathematicians out there, we understand what sine is. So that this means being born below the terrestrial side of the moon. Does that make sense? So did you come from a mother? Yes or no? Then we were born into sin. Now it's allegorical, it's not literal. So don't take it in a way that's easily offended, okay? Understand the metaphor behind it. I'm speaking in metaphor here. Okay. So what does that mean? It means that during our journey through life, we need to find a higher power. And we need to surrender to that higher power. And some of us will take a step further and align our lives with a divine mission, meaning we'll want to find our gift and we'll want to use it to help or to help the world become a bigger, brighter, and better place. Because it takes any of us, it takes all of us for any of us to get what we need up out of here. So some of us actually are answering a sacred calling. Okay. So that's a divine mission. Do you understand? So it's different degrees and different levels, but that's part of being saved. It's just realizing that when we're born into sin, we are all going to hell unless we find a way to redeem ourselves, which just means taking Christ into our heart, which basically means we're all born forgetting who we are and where we come from. And unless we find love and unless we use love as a vehicle to spiritually ascend, we will end up in a condition of suffering. That's what hell really means. So, again, a lot of times people take these words literal, and foolish ears are easily offended. The same ears, if they're of the wise, they use that as counsel. You can say the same exact statement to two different people, and we can get radically different responses. Just like two people can witness the same exact event and walk away with two completely different experiences. Does that make sense? So that's what it is to be born into sin. Basically, unless we come here and we use our gift to make the world a better place, unless we come here and we use love as a vehicle for spiritual ascension, we will end up in suffering. And suffering, we don't need to leave the body. I'm not even talking about a damnation or any of that. I'm literally talking about hell on earth could literally be a condition of suffering. Now, remember, some people are so poor, all they have is a bunch of money. Some people are so stupid, all they have is advanced degrees. Some people are so weak, all they have is a bunch of power. That's another version of hell. Imagine walking through the world and having no self awareness and self reflection, not understanding the impact you leave behind on other people. That's another version of hell. Okay. So, this is what's coming through. We do need to kind of arrest our stupid. Stupid is different than dumb. Stupid is knowing the right thing and deciding to do otherwise. Dumb means unintelligent. So I don't know what's going on here, but this is what I'm being advised to say. We have the emperor, the devil, and then we have Ruota, the wheel with Nove Denari, the nine of pentacles. I'm just going to keep going. Well, 'cause, I'm getting a deep download. So again, as I was saying, over the next 3 weeks, because something got tied into the moon. We just went through an Aries new moon, which means on the way towards the Libra full moon, something's shifting. Now, the last full moon was in Virgo. That's definitely when an anchor, a pin got put on the map for, like, is when God dropped a pin back during the Virgo full moon, where there's a line of demarcation. Where do you fall in accordance to la di da? Where do you fall in accordance to yada yada, so on and so forth, whatever, what have you? Now, l'imperatore il diavolo, that can mean, tyrant, dictatorial. L'imperatore la ruota. It means that something is going on over our head. Excuse me, English. This is because there's some kind of group brujeria. There's some type of collective, or this is a cabal. I'm just going to say what I'm feeling. There's some kind of dark malevolent forces here, but it's collective. It's kind of like the powers that be. It's kind of like dark cabals, institutions, little secret factions of, government or, colonizer controller energy that had this system structure foundation, the status quo, designed to enslave us or, divide us, basically set up a system, a structure, foundation where we wouldn't easily come into our divinity, where we really wouldn't easily come into the truth of who we are and why we're here. That's kind of shifting. So I'm going to say it differently. The old guard is falling. The old power structures are falling away. Something is shifting and changing now where those who are awakened, those who are healed are going to kind of form a new collective. And the powers that be are just going to, merge and shift. But that's what this emperor and devil is: dictatorial, tyrannical systems of power and control that want to stay in place. Now, when the Wheel of Fortune and the devil come out, it talks about business. So that is something I've been seeing in my mind's eye, that we're going to move away from government and we're going to move more towards corporate rule. That's very 1984, and some other things that I'm thinking about. But also, like I was saying, the Wheel of Fortune and the Emperor, unless that's talking about Jupiter and Aries or Jupiter in the first house, it could be talking about like things going on behind our back, things going on over our head, things going on outside of our control. Okay. Because now we have the Ten of Pentacles, the Ten of Cups, the Knight of Cups, the Nine of Wands. So we have three nines here in this reading, which means forced isolation. I want to say when the Lord separates us, sequesters us, it means that it's because the divine needs to talk directly to us. The divine needs us to hear what's being said. There's also these timing indicators. There's also these timing indicators here. All these nines are talking about cycles of the moon. So there was something going on during the Virgo. Really don't want you on my lap, paper girl, but come on. There was something going on during the Virgo full moon. There's something pending. There's something we're building up to towards the Libra full moon. Because I have the black shirt on, so I'm gonna have cat hair all over me. I should have changed. I just got home and washed my hands and ran to make this video because I was feeling it. My little walk back from getting coffee, I was feeling it. I was feeling it. All right, sweet. It's just baby girl. Okay, so I'm really feeling like there's some kind of corridor between the Virgo full moon and the Libra full moon. And right now we're around the time of the Aries new moon. Right now, at the time of this recording, as we're meeting here today, we're a couple few days outside of the watch the nails, sweetheart. We're a couple few days outside of the Aries new moon. So there's a window here of opportunity, there's a window of timing. And basically, what that is we're moving into how ready are we for this deliverance of our spiritual inheritance? How ready are we to take this place in the chosen kingdom? How ready are we to walk through the world on this divine mission? How ready are we to answer the call from the divine? Because it's not God's job to call the chosen. It's God's job to choose whoever was called. Said differently, we should already on our own be feeling the love in our heart. We should already on our own be feeling the need to make the world a bigger, better place. Or said differently, to support the world shifting and changing. But when we all kind of commune and gather in collective, some of us will be put up front, and there will be some grace some divine occurrence that will let everybody know who's chosen. Okay, we need to change the position here, sweetheart. Thank you. And let's keep going here. We have the Four of Pentacles, Four of Swords, Five of Wands, Four of Cups, Page of Cups. So again, another triple four and another triple nine. This has been happening the last few days. So we have 999 and 444. So one thing I would advise, next thing you should probably do is look up your numerology. A triple nine means that we have a high spiritual rank. For some of us, for others of us, it'll be an expansion of completions. Three is the number of expansion, nine is the number of completions. And then it's the same with four. So 444, not in particular for this reading, but in terms of numerology, angelology, it would talk about synchronicity, numerology, angelology. A triple four would talk about its Havioso or Shango or, Zeus or Thor. It's Jupiter energy, and it's talking about protection. Okay. It's saying that we do have a Thogbe, a stool, an ancestral seat, and we are here on a sacred mission. We do have a divine calling, a divine mission, a sacred calling. And our ancestors and our ascended masters and our angels and the benevolent, exalted beings and the divine themselves will let us know. And until it's time for that transmission, we will just be, at least at the very least, under divine protection in some kind of way, shape, form, or another. It's not always going to be made clear to us. Oftentimes, it'll look like being put alone, having some of our money disappear, having some of our health be challenged. So we get humble and we get contrite with divine. So we'll fall to our knees and pray to the Lord. Because oftentimes they'll take our money and they'll take our health so that we reach out and beg for help or beg for mercy. And that's just to get us alone and to get us out of the way of our ego. And then all the blessings kind of come back, or a different set of blessings start to show up. Okay. A triple nine is the same as number four, triple four, but with the triple nine, there's more there. We have more role, more responsibility. We may have other people that we're stewarding as well, because 999 actually talks about, some practices call it a babalao, a hugan. In West African Voodoo, we call it a huno. It means chief of the head, priest of the head spirit. It's basically the grandfather energy, elder of the brotherhood, elder of the priesthood. And it's a very high spiritual rank. But also, we help people walk through this life spiritually. And that's our job. Our job is to make sure that the teaching is being transmuted, transmitted, that the priesthood is being protected and stewarded. It's basically like a spiritual succession planning role and rank. Does that make sense? We're administrators of the divine kingdom. That's what I'm getting. That's what I have to transmute. This is a very odd reading. Okay. So if you're new, welcome. If you're returning, welcome back. Vertex of Abundance is the galactic temple of ascension, delivering sacred messages from behind the veil. Again, as I said, my name is Serene Priestess Abossi. I'll be your oracle today. We will be deliberating the findings for any type of correlative or corresponding energy from La Vida Sibila. That's the daily oracle by Los Carabello. Any type of pairings will come from the minor arcana of the Cosmic Coven Tarot by Lillian Lazenby. She's over at Ripe Avocado. And then any type of love will come through the Pop of Love Oracle by Vibe About It Tarot. And that's over on Etsy. And then, as always, we'll be imposing the guidance from Isabella Rotman's This Might Hurt Tarot. And she's at Liminal 11 Publishing for this deck. Be right back. So, Page of Cups, Four of Cups talks about feeling detached, Page of Cups, Ten of Cups, that means feeling connected. Page of Cups, Nine of Cups means feeling content. And again, Page of Cups, Ten of Cups can also talk about feeling fulfilled. Knight of Cups, Ten of Cups means it's a homecoming. Knight of Cups, Four of Cups means that we are desiring some type of detachment. We need a little bit of space. We need the ability to see things for what they are and not be affected by them, but sometimes to still experience them. Knight of Cups, Nine of Cups means we're desiring some type of contentment or fulfillment or and then we have also the Three of Cups, Page of Cups, Three of Cups means that's feeling connected, to be honest. And then page of Knight of Cups, Three of Cups means desiring favor, desiring choice. So this is saying that we should be feeling this calling to be of help and to be of service. And this is an extended reading. I'm just going to extend it here on the channel. This just feels very special, and I don't want to create any barriers to anybody getting these messages. But even sometimes when I extend the reading, I'll just put it under, you choose your donation. So if you ever see a suggested donation, please leave what you can. But if you really need the content and you just want to put, suggested donation 0, go ahead and do that as well. Sometimes I'll extend the reading just for timing. I don't like videos over 45 minutes unless it's supposed to be. And sometimes I'll just put 0, you know. So whenever you see Oracle Council on and the reading goes for too long, I'm just gonna start making an extended reading and making it more accessible. So we have all the corresponding energy here. However, I need to check into this Five of Wands because it's coming with the Strength card. So it's saying that we're going to be dealing with a lot of people who are going through karmic lessons, and we need to be nice and lovely to them. What's going on, babe? I'm working, honey. You can't be so demanding for attention. Um, we're going to be coming up against a lot of people that are new. They're brand new. They're just getting out of some type of horrific karmic lesson where now they're ready to listen to the divine. And that's part of the work for us is we need to have a little bit of a detachment because some people are stuck and they're hard-headed, but they're not going to appear to be. So it's one of those come through and I will dance with you kind of things. It's like see you at the top. It's like I'm here to support. Please ask for help and be precise on what your needs are because I cannot give you the answers and I cannot do the work for you. That's one of these things that I'm sensing here. And then I want to know about this Knight of Cups with the Ten of Cups. That's a homecoming. That's also another reference to come through, and I will dance with you. See you at the top. So la superbia, showing out, showing up, flossing, something of that nature. Hey, girl, I need you to be mindful, queen. Do you understand? Look at me. You know exactly what you did. So that is exactly it. We are gonna have some people that want to pretend to be all spiritual or pretend to be part of a TAR or TRH, which just means traditional African religion or traditional religious house. They're gonna want to be like, oh, I have my little elect games and I'm here initiated and whatever. But are you being playful or stupid? Which is it? You're fine. Well, watch yourself. So doesn't matter what the particulars are. We're gonna have some false spiritualists here, or people that want to fake like they've been saved or they've received God's favor, God's grace, but really, real recognizes real. So substance, it needs no proof. Either it is or it isn't. And you know the truth by the way it feels. So when people come through, pull through, usually it'll be in earnest because they'll be like, I just came out of this ordeal and this is what the Lord taught me, or I just came through this experience and here's why I'm walking with a little bit of humility and grace. And here's why I seem so solemn right now. It's because I'm really just sitting with spirit and communing with the divine grace. It won't be, look at me, I'm spiritual, look at me, and here are all my followers, and look at me. That's not what this is about. This is about like, wow, this is a serious endeavor. I have this sacred calling, I have this divine mission, and I'm really devout, and I'm really serious, and I'm really focused. That's kind of more the tenor. There should be some kind of authenticity here. And the first wave, because there's multiple waves, there's three different waves here. That's what these nines are talking about. There's three different cycles being completed. The first wave that we're going to be coming into contact with is people who had to overcome, people who had to endure, nine of wands, people who had to whittle through some of their nine lives, if you understand what I mean. Then the second wave will be people who are just promised and favored and blessed and chosen and anointed. They have the Midas touch, nine of pentacles. The third wave will be people who were persecuted because of the favor of on their life. And we're actually part of this third wave. So what I feel, what I sense, what I'm detecting, what I'm discerning is maybe these people will be coming towards us for guidance and assistance. Because we have some type of Thogbe here, some type of celestial or ancestral seat. We're probably one of the judges. I've been saying this for about a week or so. For all my tribe of Dan out there, for all my mommy Don, you know what I'm talking about. The ones in the white cloak, because we have a few. We have purple, we have white, we have yellow, we have blue. There's a couple different colors of the rope. For all those of the white cloth here, children of the white cloth unite. That's really what I'm getting. But that's we're delineating, and for the surface level, for the novice, it's not good to focus on the color. That's when you get to a certain point, it is relevant. But in the beginning, it shouldn't be relevant because it'll detract and distract the other things. So let's go ahead and look at the pairings. We have a pair of pages. The message from the other side, move with love here. We have also the Nine of Cups as well. So moving with authenticity. These are people with a really endearing heart. These are people who have a very earnest spirit. And again, the message we should be hearing during this Libra full moon is like, wow, I went through a trial. I went through a tribulation. I went through a major test. Here's my testimony. Boy, I navigated through some big mess. Here's my message. Hey, here's how I turned my poison into medicine. Here's how I turned my pain into a ministry. Here's my mission. And again, it's really like I had to navigate something very prickly and precarious. That's really the first wave. That's what we should be listening for. And I don't know why or how this is relevant. And I know the sound isn't as good as usual because I have a different setup. I have a different mic right now. See, I'm trying to go. I want to get into this message, but I didn't go through all the pairings here. So let me slow down. Okay, so what's all these fours talking about? We have three fours. So three fours is suppression, repression, oppression, depression, and there's no four of wands. So it is suppression, depression, repression, oppression. Normally it would talk about moving in together. A triple four, a double four would talk about a further commitment, uh, Quadruple four, also known as a set of fours, would talk about union, marriage, really. So we have a three fours, but unfortunately, since the four wands is not included, it's not as much as, moving in together as possible. Although we are converging, all of the chosen children, all of the sacred mission devotees are kind of congregating in the same space. Here, though, there was some energy external that was trying to suppress, oppress, repress, depress. And it was the cabal, the dark cabals, whatever institutions of power that were maligned, malignant, malicious, malevolent, the ones that did not want the sacred grace, did not want the divine mission, that didn't want us unifying together in love and oneness. They wanted us separated, whether it was the Democrats against the Republicans, whether it was the blacks against the whites, whether it was the poor against the rich, whatever, what have you. Don't matter, don't care. It was they wanted us divided. They wanted derision, distraction, degradation, destruction. They didn't want unity. They didn't want divinity. They didn't want serenity. They didn't want grace. They wanted us conditioned and programmed. They want to perpetuate the respectability politicking, basically the virtue signal, basically the individuality shaming, basically the compassion baiting, the tone policing, the concern trolling. Does that make sense? So that's what we're coming up and coming out of. And that's why there was some type of repression, suppression, oppression. It wasn't from the typical dealing with an evil witch like we normally see whenever we come across this suppression, oppression, repression, depression. It was institutional, it was systemic, it was basically propaganda. So I want to tell you quickly, my dear, about the filters of reality. This is a mechanism of the colonizer controller. The five filters of reality are government, politics, religion, media, education. Those are the five filters of reality where we get indoctrinated into the system and the programming and conditioning. Okay. The matrix perpetuates the agenda that way. And I should say clearly the false matrix. Okay, so this is a content-rich reading. I apologize, but it's the work. It's the work. It's the work. So we are wanting some expansion, but also understand here's the witchcraft, the spell work. This is the spell of Kingu, luring us to sleep. Kingu, Kingu. It's a Sumerian, Persian or Sumerian spell that was done in ancient days when the fall happened. Okay, and not Anunnaki from heaven to which they fell to earth. It was the enemy, the dark cabal, when they were removed from the divine. They wanted to set up dark principalities upon the earth, and they elicited this spell of Kingu, where they rewrote the map, where they changed the language, where they rewrote the Bible. And there's a dark cabal. So there's a system, a structure, a foundation upon which a person doesn't know they're enslaving themselves, doesn't know they're dispossessing themselves of their sovereign and sacred power. Okay. So that's what I'm getting here. That's what this is. Um, that was a lot. Okay, let's continue. So we also have a pair of fives here, five of swords, five of wands. So that's those who are disgraced, who are fallen. Again, so that's why we need to be loving, caring, and kind to everybody, because sometimes it's all we're doing is planting a seed. Sometimes all we're doing is being an example of light. And sometimes a person's purpose is really just to be an example of what not to do. There's sometimes people are born to be a cautionary tale. There's like certain people are born to be a martyr. It's hard to understand that that's the mission somebody takes on, but that's an agreement they make with the divine. It's not our place to impose or impede or intervene or interrupt another person's karma. They can always petition for a change in the contract if they go directly to the divine. And when I was talking about the 999, if you need to go to a priest, that's the exact type of priest that you go to. Let's continue here. We have this triple nine. Let's talk about that. Oh, we decided. Okay, again, there is some type of great mark blemish on humanity right now. And there's also something about the abyss and the Akasha here. Something was put into the DNA of humanity, and it was some kind of placeholder so that we would be disenfranchised or dispossessed from the heart. I feel like the heart chakra of the earth got damaged on purpose. That's what I'm getting here. We have a pair of kings. Yeah, so there's an alliance here to create havoc, karma, chaos, conundrum, pandemonium is what they're trying to issue and bring in. It's not happening. But they did have a long run. They did get a lot out. And they're like, okay, well, I have the system structure foundation set up in place. Why is it no longer working? Because we've now outgrown the frequency, energy, vibration that trap, that ensnarement would have happened. If you want to catch flies, you set up a fly trap. If you want to catch honey badgers, you need to set up a honey badger trap. So we've evolved outside of this ensnarement. We're no longer vibrationally attuned, and the ones that are few and far between. There's more awakening souls than there are disenfranchised, and the ones that aren't awakened are typically from specific bloodlines, and that's part of their karmic journey. We also have a pair of tens. Let's look at that. Whoop, whoop, whoop. Yeah, so again, most of us are chosen or beloved or something of that nature. Yeah, it keeps coming out. Yeah. It took a long time. It took us a long time to realize that we were blessed, we are chosen. You know, we all come from the goddess, and to her we are airborne like a drop of rain falling to the ocean. It took us a minute to realize and to recognize and to wake up to that fact. But now we have certitude, nine of pentacles, the certitude, security in that fact that we are chosen, that we all come from the goddess, and to her we are reborn. It took a moment. It took a moment. So we have the nine, the sun card, the ace of cups, the three of pentacles. Oh, there's those cabals. Yeah, ten of swords, king of swords. Uh-oh, justice card. So it's this is what the Libra full moon is bringing, the end of the dark cabal. As we know it, it'll never end. But there's enough consciousness on the surface of the planet where we won't easily stumble into, but the cabal is just going to shift and change. And that's what's happening here. There's some type of judgment, damnation coming to the dark cabals, because the cabals that should be in power now are of the divine light, because the gate that they were using before was the ace of wands. That's the red gate. That's the gate to the infernal kingdom. Now the gate of collectives is going to be the blue gate, which is the ace of cups. It's the one to the eternal kingdom. So prayer, cleanliness, purity, love, open heart, pure soul, instead of those ones that had had earthly power and that did sacrifice. I'm going to leave that there. Now we have a triple king. So there's not just an alliance, it's some type of affinity here. But let's look into this triple king. Wait, we have more correspondence. The Ten of Swords in the Judgment card means somebody got sentenced to damnation. Yeah, all these fake, fakakta, phony, fictitious. Letterato, gran signore. Yeah, so They had had a long run. They had gotten a lot out of whatever, what have you. And as the soul of humanity woke up, Letereza, then there's going to be some sudden turn of events. It's going to come quickly out of nowhere. Not really, but it's how it's going to appear to them. And so they're going to be scrambling to kind of keep in place to whatever, what have you. Now we have a pair of threes here with the Three of Cups, Three of Pentacles. So normally a pair of normally a pair of threes would be, collaboration, co-creation, cooperation, but with these two specific threes, it might as well be a triple three, which would mean clicks, covens, cabals. Because we have covens, Three of Cups, and we have cabals, Three of Pentacles. If one of those were swords or one of those were wands, it would be a different equation here altogether. But that's not what we have, my dear. We have some type of it's cabals and cliques and covens and so it's not just institutions and the powers that be, it's also smaller factions like communities as well. There's a lot of things going on in the dark that are emerging to the light and that are being eradicated from the place where they can do the damage or the harm that they've been doing. And the power is being restored to the chosen. So, because I'm hearing say my name and put some respect on my name, I'm hearing both those things. So, what is this pair of threes, please? Yeah, something is beginning and it's budding. And so, what's budding is more prison for those in dark unions, okay? Or more confinement for those in dark unions, but also more unions with source energy because those who are dutiful are going to get more as well. It's more of everything. So more damnation for those who are already cursed, more duties and access to grace for those who are already doing the sacred work. It's more of everything. Increases are being handed out all around. It doesn't matter if you have a negative increase or a positive increase, everybody gets an increase. You get more, and you get more, and you get more, and everybody gets more. But more of what? It depends on the path that you're on. So we have a pair of, we have a triple 10 now before we had a double. Okay, so there's an expansion of culmination. So things are ending, things are shifting, things are changing. And first of all, whatever delays were here, they're gonna kind of come home to roost. So what's happening is now the universe is attending to whatever kind of temporary lulls, temporary blockages, temporary postponements, deferments, days of XYZ LMNOP. So whatever was deferred is being resumed and concluded. So for a lot of people, there was a stay on the racket that they had going on, meaning they received notice that they were under investigation or indictment. However, the ruling hadn't come, and now it will. What's happening is the celestial court, the court of the universe, basically karma, is saying that we have justice and judgment. With all these fours, that is not a good sign. And all these kings, it means that the governors and the sovereigns of the universe are meeting in collective Three of Cups to work something out, Three of Pentacles. So all these judgments, all these rulings, all these decisions from the higher ups of the universe are being handed down starting on the Libra full moon. And it's going to continue for a week or two after. It's already underway. It's been underway really since the Virgo moon, but something happened a week before the Aries new moon where a list got passed around spiritually in the ethers. Okay. Ooh, that was a reading, wasn't it? Oh my goodness. Wow. So it's been an honor and a delight and a pleasure to serve you. Thank you for allowing me the privilege to do so. Again, my dear, if anything resonated deeply with you, go ahead and comment, share, subscribe, leave a review, book a session, send a donation. This was a reading about all of the chosen children, the divine children, being um, put into like protective custody, essentially, so that we could work on our love, we could work on our grace, we could work on our divinity, we could also check ourselves. Some of us needed to kind of burst a couple bubbles and come out of some drunken stupor and kind of quit acting stupid because really we were put into sequestration. We were isolated from all the beings that were going to be put under condemnation because punishments are being handed out. And I want to say it to you this way. Sometimes God can't drop the tower on a dark principality because there's still a divine or chosen child in said tower. So that's another reason why we were being moved around. We were being isolated so that punishments could be handed out or rulings could have been given. Hope that makes sense. But really, we're all answering the call. We're all on our divine mission. We're all getting that sacred calling, and we're about to have a level up. Extra gifts, extra benefits. We're finally going to receive some pieces of our spiritual inheritance. We're finally going to understand also the celestial endowment that we're working with. All of those good, warm and fuzzy things are going to be happening. But first things first, the darkness needs to be eradicated. It's going to happen surgically now, like cut out like egg bad cancer. Nobody can hide. It's basically like a version of the rapture. Okay, so take good care until the next one. I'll see you soon. It's a quick prayer for all those still lost out there to illusion, delusion, confusion, trapped in the seas of time, lost somewhere in the matrix, yet to heal, yet to awaken, yet to return to the resplendent grace of the divine, unconditional loving universal oneness. Upon we love you. We're sorry. Please forgive us. Thank you. We pray that your steps are ordered, your path illuminated, and that you find salvation of redemption in this lifetime. May you be well, may you be happy, may you be whole, may you be at peace, may you receive everything you ever wanted, starting with what you deserve. Until we meet again, until we read again, namaste, the Nava, and Ashe, sayonara, that's Vidanya, Avidazan. Take good care. Bye bye.